We have Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers taking on Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. This is your Week 5, 2025 prediction and preview video. Let's get straight into it with the home team, the LA Rams. All-time record in the regular season since Sean McVay has been the head coach with the Rams. They are 6-10 against Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers, but don't panic if you are a Rams fan. In the postseason, Sean McVay is 1-0 against Kyle Shanahan. That came in the NFC Championship game a few years ago. And this is a banged-up 49ers team, but these are two of the best teams in the NFC. The Los Angeles Rams are currently 3-1 as they enter this matchup against the 49ers. In Week 1, you had a tough win over the Houston Texans, one of the best defenses in the NFL, and Matthew Stafford was the MVP in this matchup. 21 of 29, 245 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 0 interceptions. And he did get sacked 3 times, but anytime he was dealing with pressure, he got the football off at the last second to Davante Adams or even to Puka Nacua, who does lead the league in NFL receiving yards as I record this video. He's one of the best wide receivers in the game. More on him in a second. In Week 2, against the Tennessee Titans, one of the weaker teams in the NFL, you won that matchup 33-19. Matthew Stafford, 23-33, 298 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. Yet again, in this matchup, Matthew Stafford had a crazy game, working off of play action, getting Puka Nacua and Davante Adams involved. Against the Philadelphia Eagles, you had this matchup won. You let the Philadelphia Eagles come back in the second half. The defense did a great job against Saquon and that run game. But Jalen Hurts comes back into the matchup in the second half with his arm, and it still came down to a crazy field goal play. The Rams went out there, field goal attempt. Here comes Jordan Davis. He blocks the field goal. He takes it to the house. You lost this matchup against the reigning and defending Super Bowl champions, 33-26. But in my opinion, if you rematch today, I would take the Los Angeles Rams. But once again, Matthew Stafford looks solid. 19-33, 196 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. And the Rams are coming off a great win last week. The Indianapolis Colts, they were undefeated. They won this matchup 27-20. And once again, Matthew Stafford, who is getting older, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game still. 29-41, 375 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns. When you go against this 49ers defense, you have Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator, but it's a huge weak spot right now with the 49ers defense. They cannot generate pass rush because Nick Bosa is out right now dealing with a torn ACL. He's out for the rest of the season. This is a young defensive line right now with the San Francisco 49ers. They have a rookie in Mikael Williams who has looked solid, and they have Bryce Huff. Those are not top edge rushers just yet, especially with Mikael Williams. He may be one day. And this is a very good offensive line for the Los Angeles Rams. You have to dominate up front. If you give Matthew Stafford enough time, he can go out there, process plays, and get the football to Puka Nacua, and the same with Davante Adams. The reason why I ran down those last previous games for the Rams is to show you, even when Matthew Stafford is dealing with pressure, he's always found a way. This team could be 4-0 right now if it did not come down to that blocked field goal kick. So you go out there against this 49ers defense, still play them tough because they have a great defensive mind in Robert Saleh. He's going to send a bunch of different twists and stunts up front. But when you have veteran quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, like Matthew Stafford, they have seen pretty much every single look that you can give them. You work off of play action, you get that run game going. And like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, Puka Nacua, this man has been phenomenal this year, moving straight down the middle of the field. 42 catches, 503 receiving yards, and 1 receiving touchdown in 4 games. That is crazy. This man's on pace to go out there and have a historic season. And we all knew that Puka Nacua was going to be the best wide receiver on the Rams team as soon as he came on the scene his rookie season. But we haven't seen him play like this, up to this level. Get him going early. And if the Rams are having a tough time getting Puka Nacua the football, especially in short yardage situations, you have Davante Adams on the back end. He's still one of the best playmakers in this league. He's still one of the best route runners in the league. 17 catches, 270 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. He's averaging 16 yards a catch entering this matchup. Those are 2 physical threats on the outside. But this is the kicker. Davante Adams can play inside the slot, and the same with Puka Nacua. We've seen the San Francisco 49ers give up a lot of big plays to the slot position since Nick Bosa went down. And you also have Tutu Atwell, who was very clutch last week against the Indianapolis Colts. He had a crazy play that gave the Rams the lead over Indy last week. So you want to get all these playmakers going. But it starts off with that run game. Kyren Williams, 13 carries last week, 77 rushing yards. He averaged 6 yards a carry, but he did have a fumble last week. And this is the one thing with Kyren Williams, a talented running back, one of the most talented players at his position. It is just ball security with him. Get him going early in this matchup and mix in Blake Corum. Now, Blake Corum last week did have 9 carries, but he only had 21 rushing yards. And short yardage situations in the goal line, you can go with Blake Corum. He has more power to his game. And it's not me saying that Kyren Williams can't go out there and run through a pile. He can. But that is when the ball starts to pop out for Kyren Williams. You get both of these running backs going in that backfield. But when you have the weapons that you have, if you're the Los Angeles Rams, you feed that beast and you feed that hot ham. Puka Nacua, 170 receiving yards last week, 1 receiving touchdown. Tutu Atwell, his 1 catch was a touchdown that gave them the go-ahead lead. That went for 88 yards. And Devontae Adams, 56 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. Ball security is key here. Whether it's Mac Jones or even Brock Purdy at the quarterback position for the 49ers, you don't want to give them too many chances in this matchup. Because Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, they are close friends. They know each other very well. This is why later on in this video, I don't have this being a blowout. This is still going to be a close matchup, even though the 49ers are dealing with a lot of injuries. So ball security is a key here for the Rams. But you have all the pieces in play to go out there and make this a tough test for the 49ers, especially with Nick Bosa being out for this matchup. And with Sean McVay being the head coach and the main offensive play caller, it's going to be fun to see him rematch against Robert Saleh, because those early days when Sean McVay was here and they had Robert Saleh as the defensive coordinator, those are some of the best games in this division. Don't let the Nick Bosa injury fool you. Robert Saleh can scheme up some pressure still. He's just having a tough time right now adjusting. Far as the defense for the Rams, this is when the Rams can rub their hands together. Now, it depends on who the starting quarterback is, whether it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's dealing with a toe injury right now that he re-aggravated last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. No matter who the quarterback is, the Los Angeles Rams have found a way to get to the quarterback on a consistent basis. In week 1, they came away with two key takeaways against CJ and the Texans. It was a crucial fumble late in that matchup, and it was an interception that CJ threw, but it wasn't on him. Cobie Durant comes out of nowhere, takes a football out of the hands of the wide receiver. The Rams had the 4th highest pressure rate in the NFL with 45%. And they're tied for the 2nd most sacks in football right now with 14 sacks as a team. You have to get to the quarterback and slow down Christian McCaffrey as much as possible. You have Braden Fisk, who is a very good player against the run, who can get to the passer. Poona Ford is an elite run stopper, and you need him in this matchup because Christian McCaffrey, he's going to be a problem on the ground and the same in the receiving game. And those linebackers, they better be ready. Because whenever they motion out Christian McCaffrey, it may be a decoy play. You may have Ricky Pearsall on the back end. You may have Juwan Jennings on the back end as well. Those receivers can kill you underneath over and over again, regardless if it is Mac Jones or Brock Purdy. There was one play in particular last week. They motioned out Christian McCaffrey. You had the linebackers. They sold out for Christian McCaffrey on the back end as an open wide receiver, and it went for 20 yards. You can't have those type of plays if you are the Los Angeles Rams on the defensive end. So I look at Omar Speights. He needs to step up in this matchup at the linebacker position, and the same with Nate in the interior linebacking room. But Braden Fisk and Poona Ford, tremendous defensive lineman. Kobe Turner is a tremendous defensive tackle / defensive end. He can get to the quarterback on a consistent basis. But in this matchup, you want him to eat up double teams. And this is why. So Braden Fisk can have one-on-one opportunities. Poona Ford, he's not much of a pass rusher, but he can push the pocket at times. If you have Kobe Turner and he's getting double teamed by the guard in the center, not only is Braden Fisk in one-on-one situations, here comes Byron Young. And here comes the Defensive Rookie of the Year and Jared Verse. You have 4 to 5 players that can constantly harass the quarterback in this matchup. And the 49ers don't just have injuries on the defensive end. They have injuries on the offensive end as well right now. And a bunch of players that are questionable. No Brandon Ayuk, no George Kittle. So you can play more man in this matchup if you are Chris Shula. But in every single game so far, this defense has had very good moments, even dating back to last season when they were one of the youngest defenses in football. Put that pressure on the opposing quarterback. Play that man coverage in tough situations. If it's 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, Press up and see if you can get away with that, and be on lookout for a bunch of end breakers in this matchup. And this is the one thing with the Rams. They practice against Devontae Adams. They practice against Puka Nacua all the way through every single week, dating back to training camp and the offseason in general. So they're used to those in-breaking routes. You cannot let the wide receiver come across your face over and over again. And if that does happen, those safeties have to step down and get in front of those passes. Cover 2 can possibly help you in this matchup, but those safeties are going to be a huge matchup. They're going to be a huge focal point in this matchup for the Los Angeles Rams on the back end of this defense. And we'll see if Emmanuel Forbes can step up in this game at the cornerback position. But as long as that pass rush can get to Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, you'll be fine. You don't have to bring him down every single play, but make him feel that pressure. Make them go out there and make those bad decisions over and over again. Brock Purdy just had 2 interceptions last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He had 2 interceptions against the Seattle Seahawks. He's having a tough time right now. And Mac Jones had an interception against the Arizona Cardinals. Live through your front 7, and the back end of this defense should follow through. But the Los Angeles Rams, they match up very well on paper. And they match up very well coaching-wise with Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator, and Sean McVay, the head coach / main offensive play caller with this team. Let's take a break from today's action, and let's talk about today's sponsor, Game Time. With the NFL season being placed into full effect, the same with the college football season. We have the MLB playoffs that just tipped off. The WNBA playoffs and the NBA regular season is right around the corner. The best way to go out there and attend these events and to save a lot of money is by downloading the Game Time ticket app and getting your tickets from Game Time. Check this out. The final price is the actual price. No surprise fees. What you see is what you get. You have job loss insurance. You lose your job, you need your money back. Game Time will credit you 100% of the money that you paid right back into your pocket. And they also have event cancellation protection. If the event gets canceled, or if it needs to be rescheduled and it never gets rescheduled, Game Time will immediately give you your money back right back into your pocket. And you can use Game Time for more than just sporting events. You want to go catch a concert, want to go catch a play? Game Time has your back. Use code CLNS if you are a first-time user to save $20 off your first purchase. Once again, use code CLNS in all caps to save $20 off your first purchase. And I also want to thank Game Time once again for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to the action. Now let's talk about Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. They're 3-1, just like the Los Angeles Rams entering this matchup. And you can make the case that they're one of the best teams in the NFL and they're fully healthy. Well, this is the problem. They haven't been fully healthy in a very long time. Brandon Ayuk has not played a single down this season just yet. He is still recovering from the knee injury that he suffered last year from Kansas City. And the expectation is that he is still going to miss a lot of time with the knee injury. George Kittle went down a hamstring injury in week 1 against Seattle. And speaking of that Seattle game, the 49ers came off to a hot start against Seattle, a division rival. They won this matchup 17-13. Brock Purdy was able to go out there and have 297 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had a turf toe injury late in this matchup. He missed 2 games. He was able to return last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He still didn't look right. 309 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he had a crucial fumble at the end of the game. And he's questionable for this matchup because he re-aggravated that toe injury. If he's not able to play in this game, you have Mac Jones, and we'll talk about him here in a couple of minutes. But let's focus in on Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is trying to overcompensate right now for the 49ers. Their talent is still there. He still has some of the best accuracy in the game, but he's trying to force the football into tight windows over and over again. He's trying to throw his wide receivers open. He has to get away from that in this matchup against the Rams. You could test out their secondary. The secondary is the weaker unit with this defense because the front 7 is so phenomenal. You can get the football to Ricky Pearsall, who's questionable for this matchup, and the same with Juwan Jennings. But if I'm Kyle Shanahan, you don't want Brock Purdy to just sit back there and just have these long developing plays over and over again. This is what got him in trouble last week. He's trying to stretch out the field so much to where now the offensive line protection is going down. When you face the Los Angeles Rams, who has the 4th highest pressure rate in football, they have 14 sacks, the 2nd most in the game. You want to have a bunch of plays behind the line of scrimmage. And the reason why, it negates that pressure. You want to slow down that pass rush. You want to wear out that front seven, and then you can work off a play action. So get Christian McCaffrey involved. And lucky for Kyle Shanahan and for Brock Purdy or even Mac Jones, Christian McCaffrey's fully healthy. 22 carries in week 1, 69 receiving yards. But this is the kicker. He had 10 catches, 73 receiving yards. The next week against the Saints, 7 catches, 52 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. He had 13 carries, 55 receiving yards. Against the Arizona Cardinals, 17 carries, 52 rushing yards. This man also had 10 receptions, 88 receiving yards. So they're going out there and they're getting him involved over and over again. Has the highest usage rate in the NFL for a reason. He has the 3rd highest target rate, including wide receivers, in the game for a reason. That's how impactful he is. But you have to be careful. I'll dial back on some of those rushing plays in this matchup, even though he is a huge downhill threat, because he has that breakaway speed. You traded for Brian Robinson Jr. for a reason from the Washington Commanders. You need those tough 3 to 4 yards, you go to him. And he can go heads up with someone like Poona Ford, and the same with Braden Fisk. He can push through the pile. Christian McCaffrey can do the same, but Christian McCaffrey's actually doing a lot right now. And Christian McCaffrey has dealt with injuries with the Carolina Panthers and the same with the 49ers in his tenure here so far. You want to go out there and give him the football as much as possible, trust me. But get Brian Robinson Jr. involved. He's not going to have the home run ability. He's not going to have those big splash plays on the ground like Christian McCaffrey. That's fine. But you just want to split that workload in the backfield and work off that play action. Now, Ricky Pearsall has the 4th most receiving yards in the NFL up to this point. He's dealing with an injury, and Jawan Jennings is dealing with an injury also. If neither one of these players can play in this matchup, that's a huge blow to the San Francisco 49ers, because now we're talking about Demarcus Robinson, who is a former player with the Los Angeles Rams. He's a very good number 3, very good number 4 wide receiver, not a number 1. And you have Kendrick Bourne, who has experience in this system with Kyle Shanahan, but he hasn't been the same player since he tore his ACL with the New England Patriots. He has 8 catches, 87 receiving yards up to this point in the season. And you have Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Now, these wide receivers in the Kyle Shanahan system, they'll still give you problems. And let me tell you why. They can all separate. MVS is a downfield threat. Demarcus Robinson can kill you underneath. Kendrick Bourne is very good with yards and his rack ability and yards after the catch in general. So you have to be careful here if you are the Los Angeles Rams. But I do believe that Ricky Pearsall and Kendrick Bourne will be able to play in this matchup. Now, Brock Purdy can't play. This is the Mac Jones portion of this video. He looked good in those 2 games against the New Orleans Saints. And I know they're one of the worst teams in the NFL. He had 3 passing touchdowns, 279 passing yards. And let's not forget, a lot of people wrote this man off as a bust, but there was a lot of reports that came out that Kyle Shanahan, he was torn between Trey Lance and Mac Jones. He now has the ability to go out there and coach up Mac Jones to the next level. And you can say that the Saints, bad team, bad defense. Sure, the Arizona Cardinals, they have a solid defense with a very good defensive head coach in Jonathan Gannon. He went out there, 264 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception, and he led the game-winning drive to where he set the field goal kicker up for the game-winning field goal, and they won that matchup 16-15. If he's able to play in this game, he can still work in the Kyle Shanahan system. You let the system work out for itself. You still lean on Christian McCaffrey. You work off of play action. But this is the thing here with Mac Jones. He's done a better job in this 2-game sample size of pushing the ball deep down the field than Brock Purdy, because he'll take what the defense gives him. Brock Purdy has more athleticism than Mac Jones, so he may fade outside the pocket and he may give you a couple plays that make you scratch your head and they work out. Either quarterback option would be great in this matchup, but I'd rather have Brock Purdy, who is the starter and he's making the most money in that quarterback room. And Brock Purdy, in my opinion, is a better quarterback than Mac Jones. But either option will be fine in this matchup, but let's hope that Brock Purdy can play. And I want to bring this up before I go to the defense here. John Lynch did say if Brock Purdy is not 100%, they will not rock out with him Thursday night. They would go with Mac Jones. And it's important to bring this up. Mac Jones was dealing with an injury last week. So him and Brock Purdy and the 3rd-string quarterback were all taking first-team reps just in case. That has not been the case this time around. It's just been Brock Purdy and Mac Jones so far in practice. Now, when we get to defense here with the 49ers, the first couple games of Nick Bosa, they looked elite defensively. They were able to stop the run. They were able to get to the passer, and the passing defense was phenomenal. Last week, Brock Purdy did put you in a bind because he had the 3 turnovers. And whenever you have more turnovers, you can give the opposing team more chances to go out there and score the football. But the rushing defense hasn't been the same without Nick Bosa. that scares me in this matchup against the Rams because they have Kyren Williams and they have Sean McVay as their head coach. But this is what plays into the 49ers' advantage here. Matthew Stafford, he can get careless with the football on some of those passes to where he can get too cocky. You have to take advantage of those situations. Sit on those end breakers and sit on those dig routes. I'm telling you. And watch out for the double move of Davante Adams. He will kill you with that move. So safety help over the top is going to help you out in this matchup. But they have to find a way to put pass rush on Matthew Stafford. Bryce Huff, I know this is not the favorable position for him right now to be a starting defensive end. But he has 2 sacks and 1 forced fumble. He's a very good player. They need him to go back there on a consistent basis and get to the quarterback. And the reason why I say this is not the best spot for him as a starter, he's more so of a player. He likes to pin his ears back on third down. He's not a run stopper. He's not going to seal the edge. But if he can get to Matthew Stafford on a consistent basis, they'll work out for you in this matchup. You have Mikael Williams, who is questionable for this game, but is on pace to play in this matchup. He has looked solid so far as a rookie in terms of stopping the run. They need him to do better in terms of going out there and putting a lot of pressure on Matthew Stafford and the opposing passer. You have Yetur Gross-Matos. We'll see if he can step up in this matchup. You have D. Winters, who's questionable, and Fred Warner. This is the Fred Warner game right here. He's the best linebacker at his position in the NFL, in my opinion. Can play the pass, can play the run. They need him to step up to the next level for the rest of the season while these players are dealing with injuries in the front seven. And he's done this in the past when Nick Bosa has dealt with injuries, because the 49ers, they're not strangers to this. Nick Bosa has went down before in the NFL with a torn ACL. But with Robert Saleh running a bunch of twists and stunts, that's going to have to help you out in this game. In the secondary, they have a bunch of talent here with Renardo Green. The same with Lenore. You have Jair Brown at the safety position. You have Jason Penix. You have Upton Stout inside the nickel cornerback position. This is a very good 49ers team. They're not this loaded team because of injuries right now, but they're well coached and they're disciplined on the offensive end and the same on the defensive end. And penalties is something to watch out for as well. When I go back to the matchup of Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, similar offenses, but I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams here to win this matchup. And the reason why, they have the healthier team. And I trust in Sean McVay and that offense a little bit more right now than I do in Brock Purdy and the 49ers. And it goes back to the injuries. This is not a fully healthy Niners team. But like I mentioned earlier in this video, it will still be a close game. I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams to win this matchup 26-20. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game? The Rams or the 49ers? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video.